Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Happy Friday, I'm out and about working and going to head to the gym and stuff. So a one in the car today after just listening to Eddie Howe's press conference ahead of that must-win game against Burnley tomorrow. I'm saying must-win because if we don't win against Burnley, Scott Parker's Burnley, the Intertoto Cup legend that is Scott Parker for the two, he's already been pretty much defeated. You know, he's admitting relegation in his press conferences, what he's been saying. If you haven't seen that, he basically said along the lines of, well, we'll fight hard, but it might not be enough. You know, it might already be too late. They're only a few points off. Mad old psychology in line from Parker in his presser the other day. But he knows that they're probably going to go down. I mean, it's close. The promoted sides are doing well in that relegation battle, really. I mean, Wolves are gone. Obviously, the Macklins seem to be all right. Leeds getting the win against Chelsea. So there's plenty of games to play. I thought that was strange from Parker to be admitting that so soon, but just burying itself at home to Burnley, Saturday at 3 o'clock. I mean, I know Martin Nebraska is going to have an absolute blinder and going to be unreal, and it's going to be tough, but hopefully we'll have Johan Wissa to come off the bench and get the winner if need be. Hopefully we're already 2 or 3-0 up by that point, to be honest with you. But as I said a couple weeks ago, a little exclusive, that Wissa will be on the bench for Burnley. Now, Howe didn't confirm that, but he didn't go against that. In other press conferences, he did say that, you know, oh, no, it's too soon for Wissa. He won't be back yet. He's still going to be back in a few weeks. He didn't say any of that. He says he's going to assess him today in training. I think he'll be on the bench. I think he'll be fine. I do think he will travel to Leverkusen. Other reporters are saying, you know, he won't make it, but some of them are changing now, saying, oh, he might be on the bench against Burnley. I'm going to stick to what I said weeks ago and said that he will be on the bench against Burnley. He's came through a couple of 11v11 friendly matches there behind closed doors, so hopefully Wissa will finally get to see him in a black and white shirt, and what a difference he could make. You know, just an impact off the bench to give us some pace, to run him behind, knows where the back of the net is. Take a new signing, as Paul Dew would say back in the day. Take a new signing, having someone come back from injury, but it is a new signing that we haven't even seen yet. £55 million of a new signing. So I really hope we get to see Wissa tomorrow. He does make the flight to Germany next week, and then we'll have him for the Mackhams next weekend. You know, the new Mackham Slayer. Called that the other week as well. I'm saying it again. He will score against them. I look to my laptop here for more team news, for the quotes from the press conference, and Eddie Howe said that Tonali is touch and go on this one. He's going to give him every chance to make the game, but Sandro had a scan. We don't think it's too bad injury, but we're giving him a chance to declare himself fit. It's a dead leg issue for the Italian, but Sandro felt concerned enough to get it scanned. Just rest him. Please rest him. What, we can't bring in Jacob Ramsey, who's cost 40 million quid, for a game against Burnley, and we're forcing Sandro Tonali to play, then we're screwed, man. Start Ramsey. Mainly should be able to be in there again. That mad start that, you know, we haven't won a game since Bruno started a match. In the games that he hasn't started, I think there's 9 of them in the last few years. We've never won a game where Bruno hasn't started. That's mental. That's so bad. Why did Bruno get rested against Spurs from the start, but played the full 90 against Everton? You know what, 4-0 up in like 60 minutes. Why didn't he take Bruno off and give him half an hour's rest then, and then having to bring him on at half-time against Spurs? Like, little things like that should be sorted out, me personally, for Eddie, where you think, come on, man, just you take him off there, rest him there. Looks like Bruno's pretty undoubtable from the start, at least, anyway, it was that bad stat. But Sandro, just let Ramsey play, let Miley play. Bloody Willock, even at this point, he did out against Marseille. Don't go risking your Tonalis and Brunos against the bottom 3 teams, because, you know, we've got Leverkusen midweek and we've got the Mackhams next Sunday. Come on, let's be serious here. It looks like Botman could be missing that derby day next week. He's going to be out for a week or 2, said Howe, on that back problem that he's had. He's had an injection in his back, and that is going to take a couple of weeks to get over it, 1 to 2 weeks, he said. So maybe Sven could miss the derby, which is such a shame, because he's had this whole thing about a comeback, you know, the injury problems over the years. People are calling him the new Jonathan Woodgate. He had a great start of the new season, and then he's hit a wall again, and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, a few weeks by the time you take into account the games he's just missed. So that's unfortunate. That's a shame. We really hope Sven Botman's back, because we've seen how classy he is when he is fit and playing. But it is a bit of a worry that he's going to be out once again. But hopefully it's not for too long. Anyhow, I mentioned it was painful losing from winning positions. That seems to be a bit of a trend this season. It's a big blow. He said no one in the league is finding consistency, which is proven by the table, to be honest with you, how tight it is, how nobody seems to be able to string back-to-back wins together. Man United last night dropping points at home West Ham, but they won away at Palace. Newcastle obviously done that recently. There's only Arsenal who's actually being consistent, to be fair. Look at Chelsea, they've got a draw against Arsenal with 10 men, then they go get beat off Leeds. Liverpool obviously won the other week, and then they go and get a draw against Sunderland. So there's just no consistency for any side in the Premier League, and what we need to do is try and find some, obviously, but so we can get a couple of wins together in a row, and then it propels you up the table, and we're looking quite rosy again. But it's just though that Spurs the last minute again, Arsenal the last minute, Liverpool the last minute. It's a killer blow, but we're going to try and find some consistency. Eddie Howe said, and the players are hurting from that and from those late goals that are being conceded. I think those are the best bits from the press conference. We're going to get into what David Hopkinson said to journalists the other night after the Stack event. Obviously, we've already did a video on the Stack event and what he said. He gave us lots of stadium updates, training ground. He went into that a bit more, but I want to focus on his comments that have really hit the press and the main news in the last day, which is him saying that he wants Newcastle to be a top club by 2030. Some bold, big, ambitious claims. But before we get into what he said and what his plans are for Newcastle United, I told you not long ago that we're starting up a new company called Farmyard Fortune. So I am now an investor in this company, so I want you to know that. So you know I'm serious about it, and when I'm promoting it, I mean it, and I believe in it, and I want it to do well, and I know how good it is and how much effort we're putting in behind the scenes. It's a class website, looks great in my opinion, it's easy to use, and you can enter the competitions that you see on your screen there now. We're giving away $5,000 cash, $2,500 cash, Xboxes, PS5s, MacBooks, you name it, we've got it. Great time to enter. The first of those big prizes you can see is going to be drawn in the next 10, 11 days. So right in time for Christmas, for the sake of a few quid, you can enter and win a few grand. That wouldn't go amiss for Santa Claus coming to town, would it? So you can get involved if you fancy it. QR code will be on your screen there now. The link will be in the description. Get on Farmyard Fortune. All right, then, on David Hopkinson's announcement the other night about Newcastle aiming to be one of the biggest clubs in the world by 2030. Big bold plan, that, mind, with only a 4-year remaining on that one since it's 2026 in a few weeks' time. But we've got him on his commitment to PIF, first of all, because a lot of questions, and I hear you saying it on the video and in the comments that, PIF don't care about us anymore, they've lost interest, where's the training ground, where's the stadium, where's the big investments and all that? Well, he said, Hopkinson on PIF's commitment, I truly believe, my heart of hearts, that we are their favourite investment. Gets daily calls and commitment from the Saudi owners, and he says they are delivering a detailed transformational plan with specific milestones to PIF next week. So he is really setting out what needs to happen at the club. So I think we have made a really good appointment in Hopkinson. Now, we've said that before about others, but I just feel with him, he's been there and done it at Real Madrid, in America, and he is really going for it. And it seems here that he is setting out clear and obvious goals and targets for PIF to get behind. So time will tell on this one, really. I thought the whole thing about, being a main investment, the favourite one, is not looking very true at the minute, mind. Obviously with the stricken by FFP and PSR, but the amount of things they've got on their plate, the amount of companies they are invested in, from bloody Disneyland to Uber to everything, absolutely everything, Facebook, you name it, they've got something somewhere. So, yeah, live golf and all the rest of it, and the boxing and that. So, yeah, that's it. So, say the favourite investment. I hope it's true, and only time will tell whether it is true or not, because we do need to see some improvements. Yes, I know the stadium is very complex, very difficult situation because of the land and everything else, but the training ground could have been done. And they have, to be fair, and still are building and investing in the current training ground, but to not even have a plan or a plot after 4 years is a bit strange, if you ask me. And again, with the sponsors and stuff. But now that Hopkinson's there, hopefully he stays longer than other people. Obviously, Eels were kind of say because he had to leave due to ill health. It's more so the sporting directors when we went through, your Mitchells, your Ashworths, even you can call Staveley and stuff into this. There's been a lot of mishaps and ins and outs, and we need some stability now. So hopefully Hopkinson provides that and gets the plan and the backing from PIF. Speaking on the training ground transformation, Hopkinson rates our current Benton base as 7 out of 10. Soon to be an 8, he said, with the ongoing investment, but he admits it is not world class, and this is what we talked about on Monday. He always kept on banging the drum about we need world class facilities to attract the best talent. He is aiming for a 10 out of 10 vision. He says a very big investment is planned for a new all-singing, all-dancing campus-style facility, complete with creches for the kids. That sounds lovely. Wouldn't mind dropping mine off. car service areas and bars. You know where he's got that from is because we've talked about before the training ground facilities that Real Madrid have, where Mbappe has got his own little suite with his PlayStation, his balcony, so he never has to go home. You know, it's crazy the facilities they've got there and the things they've got on hand. So it feels like they do never have to leave, and probably more importantly, never want to leave. You know, they're not in a rush to get back home because they don't like the training ground or whatever. They think, actually, I wish I were going to chill out and play some pool. We're going to have a game of FIFA. Loads for them to do there. I need a trim. I don't have to drive half an hour out of town to get one or bring someone to me. I'm just going to get it here at the training ground. Mad. Brilliant stuff. But, you know, that's the kind of all singing, all dancing facility that you do need that the top clubs do have. A little bit on the stadium, we talked about on Monday, but he said here once again that we will be at St James's Park for the next few years to come, so they are still debating and deciding what to do behind the scenes there. He said there is potential for upgrades on St James's Park in the meantime, but the plans are still there for everything, new stadium, whatever, so they haven't decided yet, so they're still working on that, as we talk about in more detail on Monday night. But the main thing to come out, that's got all the headlines in the last few days, and people laughing at Newcastle and who do they think they are? He said they're going to be the best club in the world in 2030. Well, it was a massive statement, and he's laid a bold blueprint for Newcastle, calling the club a rocket ship. He's made it clear that winning the Premier League is a realistic short-term aim. He wants the Toon to be perennial contenders and the biggest club in the world debate by 2030. So that is a massive statement, to be fair, isn't it? One of the biggest clubs in the world by 2030 and challenging for the Premier League. Now, I don't know if David knows about PSR yet, but has anyone told him about he thinks we can just go and spend what I want in January? I'm just joking. Obviously, he knows the crack. He's got big plans there, and you'd have to get everything right, to be fair. You know, remember when Stavely said, you know, in 5 years' time, won him the Champions League, that'll be next year. So, wait, we're still in this year, I mean. But obviously, it's big, it's bold, it's ambitious. You like that, but it's also the case of, like, finding the fine line between what's realistic. Eddie Howe was asked, is that realistic? His press conference today, and he gave that kind of answer of like, well, we just need to try and be successful every day, work towards it, get things right. And it is because you're going to have to get a lot of transfers right for that. You're going to have to get a bit of luck. And you definitely have to find consistency in your results. But a few years to get that, I don't know. I think with how tight the Premier League is now, it's going to ask a lot, but I wouldn't say it's impossible, especially to be contending, to be challenging in the next 4 years. If you think the first few years, what we've done, and like I say, it's been a bit chaotic and messy behind the scenes, you know, if you got things right on a pretty regular basis, then you could be up there challenging in the next few years. Of course you could. We're not a million miles. Last year we nearly finished second and we had strung a couple of results together. So, but to be in the hunt, to be in the race throughout the season, yeah, a lot of work to be done. But if you get the finances right, get some commercial revenue, which is Hopkinson's main job, you know, get this training ground built, get the new sponsor and all that. Who knows? I bloody hope so. Be lovely. Right, and I think that'll do for this video. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you have a great day. Hopefully you have a great weekend and the two can get back to winning ways tomorrow. I say we will. I think, I can't see it being an easy game. You think of Burnley and people think, 4-0, 5-0. Maybe not after Spurs. Like, Dubravka's going to have a good game, definitely. I do think Wissa will come off the bench. He may score. I think we'll win 1 or 2-0. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash. I don't think it's going to be mega convincing. I don't think it'll be easy. The ref going to have a point to prove. He's getting called a legend in the press conference today. Obviously, he's at the club for years, won a trophy. So, yeah, I think it's going to be one of them ones where Burnley will come up, be hard to play against. Everyone behind the ball, probably. But I'll go 2-0 Newcastle. 2-0 on this one. Please just get 3 points. Please. I'll be back with may do a vlog, definitely do a match reaction, wait and see. Subscribe to the channel, give everywhere a like, and I'll see you on the next one.